All right. Hello, everyone. We are going to give folks a few minutes to join. I see we have a few people on the line already. All right. So, hi, everyone. As people are coming in, welcome. Really happy to see you all here. Thanks to everyone who joined and participated and was so engaged in the last session. We had a ton of great content there. We heard from some of our employer partners. It was amazing. And we just wanted to take the opportunity to thank you for joining us in this back to school bootcamp. My name is Mehtat Saad. I'm a senior manager product marketing here at Handshake. I'll be moderating this session, which we're calling using Handshake to shift seamlessly between in-person and virtual recruiting. As we are getting more people joining, we'd love for you to please share in the chat that you'll see on the right side of your screen. What were some of your key takeaways from the previous session? Let us know. We'd love to hear from you. All right, so I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome my wonderful colleague, Nina Mueller. Nina, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, thanks, Taz, and hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here with you today. My name is Nina Mueller, and I am a customer success manager on our strategic partnerships team here at Handshake. So I have the pleasure of working with some of our largest vendor partners to help them best leverage the Handshake platform for their early talent recruiting efforts. And I've also worked really closely with Mataz and the product team to develop and refine the new Handshake events tools that we'll be talking through today. So super excited to get into it and share some examples and perspectives from my work with employers.
Yep. So as I previously mentioned, we will be walking you through how Handshake has reimagined almost its events experience for both employers and mapped it very closely to the student experience. Nina will jump in with her perspective, working with some of the most successful employers that we have in our platform. And you've already heard from United Airlines previously. If you have joined the session, Milwaukee Tool, Ally, about their approaching. We want to give you additional context and details specifically on how you can do it today in Handshake as you go into fall and beyond. So before we get started though, and just quickly on your right, we have a poll for you right now. We'd love to hear from you that as you're thinking about fall's already here. What is like top of mind for you? You can find the polls tab next to messages on the right side of your screen. What is top of mind for you as you approach fall recruiting? Is it bringing in more diverse candidates, hosting successful events and fairs, expanding to more schools, improving internal alignment, doing more with less? That's something that we are hearing a lot of this year. Or is it building a talent pipeline for future goals? Take a moment and please let us know how you're feeling for this year. We're already getting a lot of responses. Finding talent for hard to fill roles, doing more with less is another important one. Building and hosting successful events. Great that you're here. That's exactly what we're going to be talking about today. All right, so thanks a lot for your responses. And this is really helpful because it lets us sort of understand like how to kind of frame up what we are going to be talking about. And we are going to be talking about a lot of this. What we share with events and fairs is actually how you can do a lot of these challenges that you're facing or what's top of mind for you. All right, so let's talk about some of the themes we saw in the previous session and also what we hear a lot from our employers as they're thinking about hybrid recruiting, as we are thinking about discussions around in-person versus virtual and so on. One of the key things that we often hear is that hybrid recruiting can really help you fine-tune your school strategy. With hybrid recruiting, you're able to identify different schools and approach recruiting. They're using a combination of in-person and virtual. We know that based on a study we've done, 71% of Gen Zs are willing to move to a different city for the right opportunity. It means that they're pretty digitally mobile. Hybrid allows you to increase your reach and connect with qualified candidates regardless of location, so you're not missing out on them just by attending in-person fairs and events. We also heard from early talent recruiting programs. We also heard from employers that early talent recruiting programs are so foundational and key to your DEI strategy. And virtual has an outsized impact in increasing access to opportunity. More than 70% of class of 2023 say they want hybrid work. Students of color are often more likely to choose remote work over in-person. So if DEI is top of mind for you, that's something you definitely need to consider with your event strategy. A hybrid strategy also provides cost and time efficiency by letting you be more effective about where you put your resources. By identifying in-person and virtual, employers can almost save 40%. That's a study we've done internally with some of our employers. They can save about 40% of their events budget. That means what we're saying is you do fewer, better targeted in-person events, less spend on travel and expenses, and while you do not have to sacrifice reach by always having a virtual aspect. So the ability to meet students anywhere is also a key aspect of how you can build your brand while targeting specific criteria, which is a challenge that a lot of you must be facing. Hybrid recruiting amplifies your visibility beyond key recruiting seasons such as spring and fall. You can have an always-on strategy. And what we've seen in our platform is that employers using our talent engagement suite and having an always-on approach actually gets around 2x more company profile views, which is great for their brand. Before we go on, we'd love to hear from you again. With fall already here, this is another poll. How are you planning on approaching events and fairs? A lot of you said that's top of mind for you. Let us know, are you doing it mostly in person at a few schools? Are you mostly virtual? You're doing both, or maybe you're not sure yet. You'll find the polls tab next to messages on the right side of your screen. Mostly in person at a few schools, both. That's great because that is what we encourage. You're doing both in person and virtual and having a strategy around it. A few of you are doing mostly virtual, which is also fine because that might just be how you're approaching your recruiting and not sure yet. All right, cool. So as what the slide says is we actually recommend a combination of both for you to consider in fall and beyond, because that is the best way to make sure you're getting the most value from your effort. 82% of career fairs to date for 2023 have been in person in our platform, compared to about 65% in 2022. So which we are seeing that gradual shift to in-person this year. Students want that in-person engagement, and so career services counterparts who are on our platform are investing in it. However, like we said, it's not 2019 anymore. 92% of schools we surveyed still say that they prefer to have virtual career events and fairs as a part of their programming, even if they're investing in person. And that's something you can take advantage of in Handshake. So Nina, at this point, would love to hear from you if you could share some of the key takeaways from spring recruiting season that you helped your employer partners with.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to. And I think just to double down on what you've already said, having a strong event strategy is really, really key. Our most recent student survey data found that almost 90% of students prefer to attend an event or a fair to learn more about employers before they apply to a job. And so the biggest thing I've been working with my employer partners on is really nailing down what exactly that strategy looks like and what the right balance of in-person and virtual is for their needs and goals as a business. And it's going to flux a little bit depending on the organization. But I think across everything, it's really important to have a data-backed approach to help you understand what schools you absolutely need to be on campus at and want to dump those extra resources into. What schools are definitely still a priority, but can be engaged with a mostly virtual or a virtual first approach. And then kind of as a through line, making sure that there is broader virtual programming in place from a school agnostic perspective. And I would say this kind of approach ultimately helps employers maximize their results and their ROI from events while also being more efficient, saving time, saving money with those strategic virtual touch points and events.
Speaking of events, so like we said, we are going to share how you can do it in actuality in our platform, and really would love to walk you through Handshake Events, which we are calling our reimagined events platform. It's a scheduling command center and a mobile app to help you power your events this fall. Before I do that, though, so a little context as to how this can help with your candidate journey. We often get a lot of questions like, how are students using Handshake, and what can I do to get better at that? We wanted to share this framework with you in terms of what we see is the real benefit of having everything in Handshake. So 75% of students in the US are in Handshake today as their main home base of their career journey. They're in Handshake, discovering events near them. They're engaging employers that they know. They're engaging new employers. They're finding out about jobs. They're trying to understand what their peers are doing. They're trying to understand what industries that they should consider for different career paths. We don't want students in Handshake to feel like it's a transactional job board. Since we partner with almost 1,400 schools, not only are students engaging with employers such as you and your opportunities, they're also getting advice from their career center. They're getting personalized recommendation from their career preferences and engaging with their peers and school alumni. So that gives you an employer who's in Handshake the ability to create a much better student experience at every step of this process, because you can access them at these crucial moments throughout their career journey if you are on Handshake and you're doing everything in Handshake. Not only that, we are not just talking about students for you, because for you as a recruiter or for you as a recruiting team, you're also thinking about your entire recruiting team. That means your sourcers, your other recruiters, your hiring managers, your executives who are managing your programs and so on. You might be leveraging people beyond just your core team to make sure that students are having a comprehensive conversation with your roles and so on. So you are not only responsible for making sure students are having a great time, you want to make sure that these hiring managers who are attending these events or these alumni who are attending these events are set up for success, and they are able to provide you with the information that you need to get these students through the process and get them to hire. The new events tool has all these different user types in mind, so it's easier for them for you to engage them in the hiring process and ensure that you are getting what you need. So how does that look like? By equipping each persona with the different tools that we've built an end-to-end system to help you schedule, evaluate, and track candidates before, during, after your in-person and virtual recruiting events. So no matter if you're mostly in person or you're mostly virtual or you're doing a combo of both, you can do all of this in Handshake, and you can do all of this, you can do it seamlessly. A sourcer can send an event invite. A recruiter can customize your on-campus schedule on kiosk ahead of time. Your team can track check-ins and evaluate candidates and take photos. Afterwards, you can easily schedule follow-up conversations with candidates, and you're able to track everything in Handshake. I will walk through each of these in great detail right now, but Nina, would love to hear from you. What is, in your opinion, like the real benefit that your employers are getting from having everything in Handshake?
Yeah, I think this is so important for a few different reasons. So I think, like, first of all, Gen Z is incredibly tech savvy. They're a digital first generation. And so they honestly expect a seamless digital experience. So when employers are able to consistently engage with students in the same place, in the same platform that they're already leveraging for everything else to do with their career search, they're really able to provide that seamless experience. Students also value authenticity, personalization, and relevance above all else. So by keeping more of your interactions within Handshake, it gives employers access to more data, more historical context on the past interactions that they've had with students. And that helps them drive better touch points with those candidates as well. So from the candidate experience perspective, it's really critical to avoid a fragmented process and moving students from system to system. And then, of course, the benefit to employers and to their teams is really the consolidation of their tech stack to save time and money and drive efficiencies by doing more with less, which I know we've been talking about already.
Yeah. All right. So without further ado, I just now want to walk over the 8 steps that we've highlighted before that we quickly glossed over. Handshake, in addition, by using Talent Engagement Suite and our events module, what you're able to do. And let's assume that you're starting from the first step, and we'll walk through each of the steps as you try to get a candidate to interview and then eventually to hire. So this fall, you're probably doing this already. You're trying to find the right fairs to attend and trying to register for events. 90%, like we mentioned, 90% of universities in the US use Handshake as their system of record. That means that a vast majority of the career fairs that you should be attending are run on Handshake. We know that a lot of the career fairs this year, majority of them are in person, and we can help you determine which fairs make most sense for you to attend, either based on geography, student population, so for example, some specific skill set that you're looking for, and so on. For the ones where the virtual aspect makes more sense, we help you strike the right balance between in-person and virtual to maximize your resourcing and ROI. When it comes to hosting your own events, you can actually use events to customize and stand out, from adding different teammates, which I will also cover right after this, to customizing in-event evaluation questions and so on. You can do all of that right now with the events module. Nina, do you want to share like any pro tips about setting up like fun, engaging, high quality events that our employers can take back with us today?
Yes, definitely. I think the first thing I would say is that it's really important to have an open dialogue and a partnership with the career services at your key schools to understand what event opportunities are resonating most with their students and their student body, because it might fluctuate a little bit by school, what content is most relevant and impactful. So maybe that's branching out from the typical info session and focusing on adding value and building up student confidence and skills. And then I think from there, it's just critical to nail the fundamentals. So things like a catchy but a concise title. We've seen some great success with things like, recruiters tell all or ace the interview. And then coupling that with a compelling description to spark interest and drive registration from students. And then I'd also say that it's important that you spotlight the speakers and the attendees from your end, so students know who's going to be speaking, what folks from your organization will be there. And we found that goes a long way to drive both attendance as well as engagement during the session itself.
Yeah. And to double down on that, even if you're going in person, make sure you're adding your hiring team to scale to more events and fairs. Like, don't feel like it's a lot just for you. A lot of you're working with smaller teams. Try to expand the reach of your team. Recently, we had our Early Talent Award winner. CVS shared that earlier they invited employers to attend fairs and events to foster authentic connections with students, add representation, and speak to the growth opportunity within CVS. I mean, clearly this is working for them. They're a 3rd-time Early Talent Award winner in Handshake. So we encourage you to do the same. In this slide, as you can see, you can add hiring managers to attend the event and then make sure that they're also being engaged in the process as you are sending them out in the field. Okay, so your event is posted or you've registered for a fair, but that's where the end-to-end system really begins. So events have little value if you can't control who shows up and if you're not getting the right people to show up. With the Talent Engagement Suite, you can build your ideal segments based on your requirements. You can create an ideal profile, send campaigns to promote jobs. You can promote the events you're hosting. and the career fairs you're attending. You can tell the students, here's why we think you should come and visit my booth or attend my virtual session. Nina, at this point, would love to hear from you, like what are some of the sourcing best practices you can share as we go into fall, especially knowing that a lot of our employers face a lot of stiff competition for attention from these students in this busy season.
Yes, yeah, such a good question. And as you said, sourcing is a really key part of a successful event strategy. It's really how employers are able to ensure that the right students with the right backgrounds and the right qualifications are showing up. And so with Handshake's Talent Engagement Suite, we do have strategic sourcing tools that help you be really precise and then even surgical when you're identifying your target candidates. With filters, not just for the top level academic criteria like major, graduation date, and GPA, but also things like location interests, career interests, specific in-demand skill sets, previous experience that candidates might have, and then even demographic information to feed into your diversity goals as an organization. And then from there, employers are able to deploy what we call campaigns, which allows you to reach hundreds or even thousands of pre-qualified students at scale with a single personalized message. And in the past year alone, campaigns have boosted RSVPs for employer events by over 130%. So I think just really critical that your event strategy is backed up by sourcing to really maximize that ROI. And again, to your point, stand out from the competition.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. And all right, so we've sourced our RSVPs, we've shared and promoted our events, and it's the day of the event, and we are there in person, let's pretend. And this is where we are so excited to share this new app with all of you. If you've heard about this before, we just wanted to also share it again because we're so excited about what this can do for you this fall. Like I mentioned before, you can invite your in-person team to attend an event and make it easy for them to attend the day of using this mobile app. So this is the first time we've launched an employer app use a native Handshake app for our employers. We've had a student app before, but now we're starting to build out the foundations for the employer experience using a mobile app. This is an iOS app right now. We're going to launch Android in a few months. So all you would need to do is invite your whoever's attending the in-person event and fair, and they just need to download the app and they'll be able to see their event or fair that they're attending. They'll be able to see past events and fairs. They can access, when they click on the fair, they can access a list of students who RSVP'd, and live as students are checking in, they'll be able to see who's checked in. You can use offline mode to preserve the data when in person. Everything syncs later. We know that a lot of you go to fairs where there's no Wi-Fi and it's frustrating. So we wanted to build a tool for you that lets you capture the data and then syncs with Handshake as soon as you have connectivity again. So as you're in person and you're talking to students during an event, you can use the app to view a student's profile. We know a lot of you have only a few minutes to talk to students and you want to make it count. We wanted to give you the most important information easily accessible front and center. And this is also a huge time saver because you don't have to prepare in advance. You have everything you need on the phone. You can look at their profile, you can ask them questions, and as soon as you are able to understand if this candidate is a good fit for your role or not, you can submit an evaluation. We have 4 options: strong no to strong yes. And you can also add custom evaluation questions. We have 5 options that you can pick, or you can create your own. You can also take pictures of a resume if they bring that and access it later, or you can add notes to a candidate's check-in right here, all on the app. So very easy, very seamless. We've got a ton of great feedback from it. Nina, would love to hear how your employers, why is this exciting for them?
Yes, this is such an exciting addition to Handshake this year, and I really think the impact of it can't be understated. I know that there are employers that I work with that use Handshake that still collect paper resumes when they're on campus. that they have various different spreadsheets that they use to track information, including attendance. And of course, all of that is really difficult to manage, to keep up to date, and to keep track of, and makes it nearly impossible to truly understand the ROI from events. It's also creating more work for the on-campus and the recruiting teams, time that could and should be better spent on more strategic activities like following up with the high priority candidates. So with this app, all of this is going to be super seamless and easy. Evaluations can be submitted in real time, as you mentioned, resumes scanned and stored with that evaluation, and therefore really teeing up the follow-up efforts perfectly, which I know we're going to talk more about in just a moment as well. So yeah, my employers are really, really excited about this.
Yeah. And I want to double down that you've met with your students, you want to keep them moving forward post-event. All the information that you need is stored in one page in the Handshake product in the web. So you as a recruiter, you say there are people out in the field and they're sending you these evaluations and pictures. You can sit in your office and you're able to access all of them, and you're able to immediately take next steps, download their resume, invite them to next day coffee chats and interviews and so on. After the event or interview, you're able to filter the candidates with messaging. Say you don't immediately want to do another interview, but you want to just keep them warm, keep the conversation going. You can send them a message. So Nina, I would love to hear about the art of the follow-up message. What have you seen work really well?
Yes, definitely. So follow-up is absolutely key. And this workflow is something the employers I work with are personally kind of most excited about. So again, the evaluation information is funneled in real time from the on-the-ground event representatives on their phones directly back into the Handshake platform. So recruiting teams and folks that are not at the event can start actioning on the high priority candidates immediately. So again, comparing that against waiting for the on-campus team to travel back, sifting through resumes and notes, and then following up with candidates from there. This is really a game changer. There's no lag time here. You can capitalize immediately on excitement from students that met with your team on campus and move them right into the next step, whether that's an application or an interview schedule, ultimately just increasing conversion rates and reducing your time to hire.
Awesome. And then beyond messaging, of course, you should be following up with maybe a message, but you also want to immediately move them over to, say, an office hour or an interview day. And you can do them through, this is also a new feature that we've just launched, advanced scheduling. We heard from employers like you that it's so difficult for you to manage multiple schedules of your hiring team and the schedule of so many students who you're probably trying to assign to like an interview panel and so on. You have to go back and forth over email. You have to use an additional tool to be able to schedule follow-up interviews. With this update, we made it easy so that you as a recruiter can manage like a whole day or multiple days of interviews in one view. You can add multiple interviewers, and then you can add different students to each of these slots. You can customize them as well. You can actually share the whole schedule with a student. So for the student, when they on their version of Handshake on their app, they are able to see what are the options that they have available in order to meet with you. No need to go back and forth again. And again, we're simplifying and we're trying to save everyone's time. You are able to provide a great student experience because you are not wasting time, and you're not having to like manage different tools and so on and have them join using different things. They can find all their jobs, their events, and employer profiles in the app as well. And now they can also find the time to meet with you. Finally, for the student, we talked a lot about the employers. We also wanted to connect back, like we just talked about in person. In virtually, a student is able to meet with you in Handshake using Handshake video. And in person, they're able to use the Handshake app to check in and provide you with the information so that you can follow up after an event or fair. Okay, and then lastly, this is a big one for a lot of our employers, is understanding ROI. It's since all your event data and student activity data across your platform is all in Handshake, you can see how many students you've engaged with via events, via your campaigns, per school, or by demographics. to help you prove to you and your team what is the ROI of the events that you're doing and how can you make it better. Nina, I know you work with our employers a lot on this aspect specifically, is to understand the ROI data. What are some of the fundamental metrics that you ask employers to focus on when they're looking into their event strategy?
Yeah, this is such a big part of how I work with my employer partners to hone and refine their event strategy. So historically, tracking ROI for in-person events in particular has been a huge challenge. I even saw someone in the chat ask this question as well. With the events tools and the robust Handshake reporting that we have, both in the platform itself, as well as from a more bespoke perspective and what I provide as kind of that white glove support to my partners, this helps employers understand not just exactly how many candidates attended each event, but how many qualified candidates did and how many were moved forward in their process, what that conversion rate looks like by school, and who eventually went on to get hired. So really connecting the dots between event activity and the eventual hiring outcomes, which gives that really holistic view of ROI for events. And that's so critical to help inform future decisions. You know, going back to what we talked about at the top of our time and using a data-informed approach to prioritize schools for in-person and virtual interaction, this data is how employers are able to do that.
All right, awesome. So that was it about, that was an overview of our events platform. If you want to learn more, we highly encourage you to please reach out to your account team or reach out to any one of us. We'd love to share more about this, share a demo, or actually walk you through what this strategy could look like for you, fall and beyond. But for now, Nina and I are going to share a few of our most commonly asked questions, FAQs around this platform that we often get from our employers. And we'll also take a moment to answer some of these amazing questions that I'm seeing come in from this audience today. So Nina, the first question for you is, can we use other Handshake features in the app for now?
Yeah, this is a great question. So for now, the app is really focused on streamlining the in-person event and fair actions for our employer partners that are investing in the events module. But with that being said, it is an initial release, and we're super excited to continue building out additional functionality in the future, you know, based on the feedback that we received from our customers. So there is definitely more to come, but for now, the app is just focused on that in-person event enablement.
Yeah, awesome. Another question we got from the chat too, and something we get often is, can we customize the questions in the app? I think they mean the evaluation questions that we showed on the slide.
Yes, I saw that question come through, and the answer is yes. So we do have a couple options. So you can configure from our preset list of evaluation options. So you can quickly just tag in the ones that you'd like, or based on your needs, if you need something a little bit more custom, there is a custom field to actually add your own custom evaluation criteria as well. So it's both configurable as well as customizable.
Yeah. Okay, next question is, who can use the app? Is it easy or hard to add people and remove access? And I do want to answer another question that's related. This events app is available for the premium employers who have the events module with their talent engagement suite. And if you have it, you can add as many of your teammates to the app to be used at in-person affairs and events as possible. There's no limit to how many people can access the app. And you can remove them too by just simply removing them from the event configuration wizard as well. Nina, anything to add here as well?
Yeah, I would say, as you mentioned, you have to be a premium employer with the events module to use the app, but individual users to take advantage of the app functionality do not have to have a premium seat themselves. So it's available for anyone at your organization, so long as you invest in the events module. So wanted to clarify that too.
All right. Another question that I would love for us to double down on a little bit. We talked about it a little bit, Nina, but I think this is important. What are the benefits for students from this approach that we talked about today? Everything in Handshake, everything is for you to be able to utilize the data, the touch points, all of it together.
Yeah, this is such a good question. And I think, here at Handshake, we really believe that the student experience is the most critical thing. And everything that we do across the three sides of our marketplace really focus on students first and foremost. So we see these enhancements to the events module impacting students in a few really important ways. So first, our employers told us that it was really difficult for them to quickly collect and act on feedback from in-person events and to move candidates forward in the process. So with the app, we're basically empowering employers to quickly evaluate students and then, get their teams to immediately act on the high priority candidates. So that allows students to be moved forward in a timely manner, reducing the lag time or just like the waiting around for the next step. And then additionally, on the scheduling side of things, simplicity is really key. So the student experience is really refined there with a single link that they'll be able to easily see everything that's available to them, kind of fit interviews and chats with employers into their schedules as it works best for them. So I would just say overall, students really benefit from faster hiring decisions and, a more streamlined and simplified process.
Awesome. I want to answer a question that I got on chat. When will the app be available on iOS? It's available today. If you have the events module, you can use it today. We launched it last month. We are going to be releasing it for Android in a few months. It's under development already, and it's available for everyone to use today as long as you have the events module. Another question that I have is, how do these recommendations apply to a small company? There are less than 10 on staff. We have sent alum to career fairs, but there is no hiring team. Nina, I know you work with a lot of employers who are probably in the same boat, right? In terms of being able to scale.
Yeah, definitely. I would say like these features are meant to work for any organization, large or small. And I think regardless of whether or not you have like an actual hiring team and you're sending alumni to campus events, you can empower those alumni to use the app, to use the functionality to quickly, again, evaluate candidates and move the high priority folks through the process, same as, any other representative that might be at the fair. So, and making it really easy for them. The app is super intuitive, so there's not a big learning curve, so they can easily flex in for these hiring events and make an impact.
Absolutely. It's a very streamlined process where you go into the event, you find the student candidate, you submit an evaluation, and that's it. Anyone can use it, and that helps you leverage that extended team that a lot of you would benefit from. All right, I think we are about to wrap up here. So many of you stayed all the way to the end, so we really appreciate the engagement. We appreciate all the questions. We just shared a SHRM credit on the chat as I'm seeing. Hopefully this was helpful for you. As always, feel free to reach out to your Handshake account team. If you have any additional questions about fall recruiting, career fair event strategy, about our different modules, about talent engagement suite, anything, we'd love to connect. And we'll see you tomorrow, I believe, for day 2 of bootcamp.